Right. Morning, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Jesse talks all things TDCJ and military. Before I get too far into it, let me apologize for the background noise that you may or may not hear while I'm filming this. About 2 houses down, they're currently tearing the house down with a tractor and a backhoe. So there may be some background noise. There's really nothing I can do about that, but get past that. Before we get into today's topic, I want to thank all of you. I don't typically check my stats very often. I got a notification from YouTube that I've broken over 600 viewers. All right. Not viewers, 600 subscribers. I'm sorry. I want to thank all you guys for that. I'm glad there's that many. I know it's not phenomenal, but anyone that I reach, I hope that I'm accomplishing the two things I set out to do, which was entertain and educate. Now, on my last video, I said I was going to start winding it down. That's not going to happen for a while, okay? I'm going to wait till I exhaust all the stories or nobody just wants to hear from me anymore. But for now, we're going to keep trucking along. I appreciate every one of you. Tell your friends. Let's get the word out about what it's really like working in that place. There's plenty of inmate channels right now. 23 and 1, Jay Williams, Joe Guerrero, who was the pioneer with the After Prison show. They don't ever speak positively at all about any of the guards, as they're called in their areas. And I get that, okay? That's just how it is. Inmates and COs they just don't get along. You're not really supposed to. It comes with the nature of it. None of them are interested in doing any kind of interview or Q&A with me, and that's fine. I'm not particularly interested in speaking with any of them. I don't think any of us would hit it off very well. And I mentioned a while back that I was going to do a Q&A session with an individual who calls himself Bad Bob. He's been an inmate for over 46 years. He does have a channel. He uses contraband cell phones to film, and then somehow he gets them out to a contact outside who uploaded it to his YouTube. Well, this guy did him dirty a while back, and he was struggling to get his content up, and the last time I talked to the guy was back in April. He just fell off the face of the earth. I don't know what happened to the guy. He hasn't uploaded anything since then. I can only think maybe somebody snitched him out. It happens. Go figure. Inmates snitching on each other. Hydrate. Happy Saturday. We got the Christmas can here. So, let's continue on with our What Would You Have Done Had You Been in My Shoes series. Today's topic, we're going to talk about feed and chow. Sundays were typically easy days for corrections. All right, most of the time, at least in SEG. I don't know about Gen Pop. We only had to pull them out to the showers, and we fed them twice. We didn't have to put them in the day rooms. Less offender movement, less work for the COs. One of the busiest times for inmates was Super Bowl Sunday. They would run up debts and gamble and make bets and trades with whoever they could. SSIs would help pass out whatever kind of information they needed to. SSIs would help pass out information. They send out kites. They traffic and trade. They send out fishing lines. They do it verbally. Some would trade trays. Others would send soups. They'd send magazines. Whatever you could think of. Just like anybody, when you go to the casino, you gamble for money. Well, these guys didn't have physical currency to actually, these guys didn't have currency to actually gamble with, so they do it with items or favors, information, whatever they could. I never really bothered to try to find out. First time I tried to grab one of the fishing lines, I was wearing my gloves, and I went to grab it, and inmate pulled it straight up, and I felt it run through my hand. If that would have been my bare hand, that would have cut my hand open. And these guys, they would typically bait the lines, meaning it'd be covered with either shit, piss. These dudes would have diseases. It'd be infected with something. And if you grabbed onto it, there's no telling what you could have got. So after that, I didn't chase after fishing lines. So the game's done. It wasn't the actual day of the Super Bowl. I know it was on a Sunday. It was either the Sunday after or 2 Sundays after. I don't follow football, so I didn't know when it happened, but I knew it was time for, what would I say? It was time for those bets to get paid up, okay? I'm working with Campbell. We got a good rapport going on with each other. We haven't had the situation that happened to us in previous videos I talked about where we got into it with each other. We were pretty tight at this point. We're doing our thing, making our rounds, pulling guys out for the showers. Tray cart comes in, lunch tray. Campbell says, "Hey Carter, we got it made today. We don't have to pass them out." What do you mean, bud? I don't remember what the SSI's name was. I remember his face. I remember his stature. Short, stocky, older black guy. Let's just call him Bob. He said, "Don't worry about it. Bob's going to take care of all the trays for us." I'm not following you. Reason I was confused, we couldn't let the SSIs pass out trays in SEG. It was weird. In Gen Pop, they went to the chow hall and inmates served the trays. They slopped the food on it. They sat down. They ate. CO just stood there. In SEG, we did everything. I'm trying to watch the profanity. We had to pass out the trays, the drinks. It was rough. We had been told numerous times in turnout that it had been seen on cameras of SSIs passing out trays, and they're taking names of the bosses down. They're going to start writing cases on them. We weren't supposed to do that. They were scared the SSIs were going to try to poison the food from SEG inmates. That was really the only excuse that we ever got, other than don't let them pass the trays out. I never did. Anytime I was working by myself, it was rough. I passed the trays out myself. They'd ask. Excuse me. SSIs would ask if they could help out, and I never let them. Well, on this day, I always kind of considered Campbell senior to me. Coming from the military, whoever's got more time in is typically seniority, especially with a rank thing. He and I were both CO3s, but he definitely had time on me. So I considered him not a supervisor, but he definitely had me in seniority. So when he said that, I'm thinking, this been worked out through LT. Don't worry about it, Carter. Bob's going to take care of it. You know what, man? Whatever. It was Sunday. It was getting later. Okay? When I say later, I mean the lunch cart came in late. Typically, it would be there by 9:30. It didn't get here till almost noon. I don't know what the holdup was. Tray cart comes in. It gets plugged into the wall. It starts keeping the food. It's supposed to keep it at a constant 160-degree temperature. You pass out 7 on the bottom, 7 on the top. Then you had to unplug that cart, roll it around to Bravo's side, and then 15 to 21 and 22 to 28, unplug the cart, roll it around. And this is a big cart, okay? I'm talking about, it's about the height right here, 4-wheeled. It was pretty heavy. Plus, the thing was full of food and juice beverages. It was a pain in the ass moving that thing around. So, Bob and another SSI come in. They plug the thing in. They don't even acknowledge us. They open up the doors to the cart. They start loading trays in. The only thing they couldn't do, they couldn't have the bean tool. I wasn't going to give no SSI a bean tool so we could get into a fight with a big metal rod. I might have used that thing to protect myself a time or two. Anyway, we go over to the first cell, and Bob goes, "He don't get one, boss." Second cell, he don't get one, boss. Third cell, he gets a tray, boss. Pop it open. Gives him his tray. We go on down the lines. We skipped a pretty decent amount of cells. until we got up to the second tier. I don't remember if it was 11, 12, or 13. I don't remember which one. He got 3 trays. Everything inside of me felt wrong about that. Bob was passing the trays out. Me and Campbell were just popping the slots. The other SSIs pouring the juices. And I'm sitting there going, okay, this is different. We go on down to the other side, and it continues on. Some cells got 2 or 3 trays. Some just got the standard 1. Others got none. Nobody saying nothing. I thought the place was going to erupt and start beating and banging, and everyone screaming and yelling about where's their tray, why are they getting extra. There wasn't any of that going on. We finished up feeding the trays, and we had extra trays left over. Typically, if there were extra trays left over, inmates start yelling and hollering, hey, give me that tray, I want that, they're just going to throw it away. Nobody did that. Bob locked up the cart, pushed it out, didn't say anything to us, left the pod. I looked at Campbell, Campbell looked at me, he winked, said, that's the way to do it. I said, I know, man, this just don't feel right. Like, nah, man, that's how it is. They're paying off their debts. Like, yeah, man, you think we get in trouble for this? What if somebody snids out I snitch? Hey, Carter, relax, man. This ain't the first time this happened. This how it is. I was still kind of green at the time. Okay. A couple hours later, dinner cart comes in. What happens? Bob and that same SSI passing out the trays at random. I don't remember who got what at that point. It's like, man, I don't even want nothing to do with this. In fact, looking back at it, I remember I went to cells 1 through 7, pop, 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 popped every single one of them. Bob put whatever trays were supposed to go in. Once I got to number 7, I went back to number 1. You had to lift up the slot. The beam tool was 2 prongs. Stick it in, and there was a plunger. You'd stick the prong in, lift up. It lifted up the plunger, closed the slot, and the plunger would close on the slot. That's what locked it in place. It was a 2-handed operation. I go back, and only one of them supposed to be open at a time. Okay, I violated policy there. Boom, big time write-up. I go back, I close all the slots. Campbell was already up on the second tier, doing the same thing I was doing. We was violating everything under policy that you could have. We may as well have opened the freaking doors and just let the guys come out and eat at that point. We'd violated every security procedure. Wasn't the first time it had happened. So we served dinner that way. It went quick. By the time I got down to the end, opening the slots, it was time for me to go back. Bob had already got all the trays passed out from there. Once again, nobody's beating and banging. Nobody's hollering. That was weird. That was rare. All right. The only thing that I can think is everybody had put in their orders, meaning they're gambling, and now they were having to pay up. And the ones that were owed, they got what they were owed. The ones that had to pay, they paid. If there were those that weren't involved in it, they weren't speaking out or saying nothing. I never got in trouble for it. I never heard anything about it. It wasn't mentioned in turnout. None of that. When we got done, when we were walking out of it, Campbell puts his arm on my shoulder. It's like, hey, Carter. Nothing ever happened, man. I looked at him. That's right. Went on about our business. Cool. Nothing ever came from it. But that's, but both of us, we could have been fired. Probably should have been fired for that. I don't know what to say about the situation. What would you have done? Would you have done like I did, given in to the peer pressure? Or would you have said, nope, stop. This is policy. We're going to feed it the right way. And it would be a complete hypothetical what would have happened had I had done that. I have no idea. It probably would have caused a riot. Should I have snitched out, called a supervisor? For all I knew, LT was in on it. I could have put him in a situation. So, TDC, working corrections is not all black and white. All right? You're taught in the academy that inmates supervise nothing. COs run that facility. On paper, and from an academy perspective, that's true. Inmates did used to run the facilities. They were called building tenders. And back in the 60s, I think it was Dr. George Beto who abolished that program. You had watch the movie Cool Hand Luke and Brubaker. That'll give you an idea of what a building tender is. Building tender was a inmate who supervised the inmates. The CO, they called them turnkeys. Turnkey was just there to open and close the doors. Inmates ran everything. That was completely abolished. And that was when the whole restructurization of training and the COs are going to be involved in everything. That was when all that started. That was a prime example right there in 2013 of what it was like with a building tender running a situation and the turnkey, me, just opening the slots. So it is what it is, folks. I hope y'all found this story entertaining. Hope you found it enjoyable. Maybe some of you found it repulsive. That would be fine. Hey, shit happens, right? Tell me what you guys would have done. Happy Saturday. Everyone stay safe. Hope y'all get y'all's Christmas shopping out of the way. It's going to be here soon. Everyone take care. I'll see y'all in the next video. Carter's out.